Bad luck. Okay, Madhavi, you can start.
Good morning to sir and my dear friends. Here, uh, this is my presentation on the topic of analysis of corporate information based on the financial statements of Commercial Bank of Ceylon PLC. Um, this is the order of my presentation. First of all, if I talk about the background of Commercial Bank of Ceylon PLC, it is a public limited liability company listed on CSE, which was incorporated on 25th of June 1969 under the company's ordinance number 51 of 1938. And then it was re-registered under the Companies Act number 7 of 2007, and it is a licensed commercial bank regulated under the Banking Act. And this commercial bank is a group of company consists of local subsidiaries, local associates, and foreign subsidiaries. So here, local subsidiaries consist of four companies. They are Commercial Development Company PLC, CBC Tech Solutions Limited, CBC Finance Limited, and Commercial Insurance Brokers Private Limited, which was recently acquired by the bank. And the sole local associate is that Equity Investments Lanka Limited. So when it's come to the foreign subsidiaries of the bank, um, there are three. One is Comex Sri Lanka, which is in Italy, and Commercial Bank of Maldives Private Limited, and CBC Myanmar Microfinance and Company Limited. So when we talk about the commercial bank, it is the largest private sector commercial bank in Sri Lanka. In terms of total asset base, which is stood at 1.7 trillion as at the end of year 2021, and this is the only private sector bank that has designated by the central bank as a higher tier DC bank.
Can you speak a little bit louder or just adjust your mic?
Okay, sir. Now can hear?
Yes.
Okay. So this is the only private sector bank that has been designated by the central bank. Actually, as a DC bank, it means domestic, systematically important bank, and the bank has been awarded by too many awards as the best bank in Sri Lanka, and the best commercial bank, and the best digital bank in Sri Lanka as well. So this is the corporate information about the bank, corporate profile of the bank. So here it shows that business having total asset base of 1.7 trillion. It is consisted of here loans and advances and at all. Here this is the bank has this is the only Sri Lankan bank to be ranked for the to be ranked as a top 1,000 banks in world according to the 10th consecutive year as well, and bank is having a good market capitalization as well, and bank has awarded by AA Fitch rating, and here the bank has been shown a successive financial performance over the years by providing uh, uh, variety of banking facilities and related activities such as accepting deposits, personal banking, trade financing, project financing, pawning, and money remittance facilities, etc. So therefore the bank accounts approximately 10.7% of the sector loans and advances, and 11.2% of deposits, and 11.8 of the asset base in the total banking industry. So here when it's come to the corporate information of the commercial bank, there are too many corporate information we can talk, that like lending and the depositing by the bank, and accepting deposits, and uh, leverage and the liquidity position of the bank, and risk management of the bank, and money creation, term interest rate structure likewise, but for the analysis purpose I only chose few. The first one is that lending. So here lending means loans and advances given by the bank. Those are the actually financial assets of the bank, which are initially measured at amortized cost, and they are subsequently measured at cost carrying amount using the effective interest rate. So this includes loans and advances include loans and advances given to the bank and given to the customers in terms of loans and advances and leases receivable, and therefore this approximately 10.7 of the sector loans and advances. So here when we talk about the rates as well, lending rates as well, the bank had to reduce their lending rates matching with the downward trend in interest rates in Sri Lanka. So therefore bank could provide more lending facilities to the customers who are facing revenue losses. So as a result of that, total assets based on the deposits, they are providing lending for the customers and outside banks as well. Therefore, as a result of that, total assets of the bank grew substantially by 25.15% during the year. Therefore, total asset base consisted of 1.7 trillion. So here, uh, uh, this is actually uh, here as a result of this, banks loan compared to the 2019, the gross loans and advances you can see here. Gross loans and advances given to the banks has been increased for 700 and approximately 780 billion, and uh, once after deducting impairment losses, net loans are as 780 approximately here 2020, and there is an increase of the loans and advances given. And when it comes to the loans and advances given to the other customers as well, uh, here the net loans and advances have been increased from 884 billion to 897 billion. So it is approximately 1.38% increase. Here we can categorize the loans and advances given to the customers as product wise and the currency wise as well as industry wise. This is product wise. The loans and advances given to the customers as OD facilities, trade financing for the lease, hire and purchase receivables from the customers, and credit cards, bonding. Likewise, there are too many. And by currency wise, Sri Lankan rupee denominated loans are given in US dollar denominated funds, pounds, euros. Likewise, by currency wise, this is the category of loans. And by industry wise, for the agriculture and fishing industry, arts, entertainment and recreation, construction, for the variety of industries, they have given the loans and advances. So next, I will move on to the deposits. So uh, so here the bank's major function is that accepting deposits from the customers, which includes different kind of deposits such as non-interest bearing deposits, savings deposits, term deposits, and deposits payable at call, and certificate of deposits. So the bank approximately account for 11.2% of the deposits in the whole banking industry. So during the first half of 2020, bank became the first private sector bank in Sri Lanka to cross the deposit here the deposit base of 1 trillion, and that bank actually uh, they are providing loans based on these deposits. So uh, bank has been continued its deposit growth to the 72.92 from the total assets, uh, but actually compared to the 2019, uh, that was 75.92. Slight decrease is there, even though there is a slight decrease compared to the total assets. The bank's deposits is actually when compared to the deposit base in the 2019, um, there is a growth of 20.19. Here you can see the total deposit stood at 1,266 approximately 1,266 billion. Uh, so over the past 10 years, there is an average of 17.16 deposit increase in the bank. So this is the deposit according to the bank deposits, according to the currency, according to the categories of local currency and local currency as well as foreign currency denominated deposits. So here next I'm going to talk about the borrowing, other borrowings actually. There are borrowings in the banks, the other financial liabilities of the bank. They are as uh, borrowings due to the bank's securities sold under repurchase agreements, and due to the depositors and other banks and other borrowings, etc. So here the bank's primary source of funding are deposits from the customers and other borrowings. Therefore, I choose to focus on that borrowing, other borrowing. So here um, you can see there are two major sources of borrowings: refinance borrowings and the borrowings from the International Financial Corporation. Here uh, those borrowings has been increased by 134.66 compared to the previous year, because the bank has obtained borrowings to facilitate those who have been affected by the COVID-19. So here that refinance borrowings have been obtained by the central bank under the Saubhagya refinance facility to assist to the businesses affected by the COVID-19. And then another borrowing is that borrowings from the International Financial Corporation to help the small and medium businesses. They have obtained those borrowings. Therefore, it is showing an increase of the borrowings more than 100%. Next, important information about corporate information is that market capitalization. The bank ranked first in the market capitalization in the banking sector. So actually, here you can see bank's tier 1 capital ratio over the last 4 years has been showing more than 9. It is the actually minimum regulatory requirement for the tier 1 capital ratio is that 9%. In all years, throughout all 4 years, it is showing more than 9% rate. That is in average 2 point buffer over the regulatory minimum requirement throughout the 4 years. And total capital ratio also, the total capital ratio, that minimum requirement is that 13%. It is also greater than over the 4 years. In 2020, it is 16.819. You can see here. As a whole, bank is showing a good market capitalization. As a result of that, it report the highest price to book value and the highest market capitalization of 94 billion, as I shown in the previous corporate information as well. So next, I'm moving on to the liquidity position of the business, liquidity position of the bank. Here, bank in terms of the availability of the liquid funds of the bank, it is showing a greater liquidity position. Actually, the bank is free from the liquidity risk as well. Here you can see liquid asset ratio. They are higher than the domestic banking units and the offshore banking center also showing more than the minimum requirement of 20%. And liquidity coverage ratio also, it is greater than the minimum requirement of 90%. And net stable funding ratio also 1.57 157.66. And liquidity reserves also providing a good position of the bank here. Next, I will move on to the other corporate information which are very important regarding the last financial year of the bank. Therefore, I chose to talk about interest income and COVID-19 related expenses and the seasonal initiatives as well here. Uh, when it's come to the net interest income of the bank, um, so it has been in generally as a whole, uh, all the banking industry net interest income declined by 2.2% year on year basis, but bank has succeeded to maintain a high a growth in the interest income. It is about 5.01% because bank has given more loans and advances to the outside parties. Next I will move on to the COVID-19 related expenses. Actually, actually banks expenses increased due to the COVID-19 uh, from 85.8 million. It is because of sanitizers and staff transport and PCR test, surgical mask and stuff. They had to incur 85.8 million. That is actually unavoidable cost because of this pandemic situation. So next I will move on to the CSR initiatives of the bank. Um, the commercial bank is recognized one which is providing uh, more CSR initiatives to the society. So therefore, out of them, the bank has been donated laptops to visually handicapped university students, and they have provided software coding clubs for the around 50 schools under the STEM up project that they are initiating. And they have established smart classrooms that focus STEM up classes, means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics for 100 schools about. And they have established their 200 IT lab at Janadipati Vidyalaya Matara, and they have supported for the COVID-19. They have supported against the COVID-19 pandemic as well. Another thing is that bank has donated here. Bank has donated life-saving equipments to Lady Ridgeway Hospital, and bank has supported marine turtle conservation programs as well. So as a whole, even though there is a pandemic crisis that is there in the country as well as in globally, bank has successfully ended their financial year, and they are showing strong foot fitting that showing uh, sustainable deposit growth and better liquidity position at all. So this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much.
Finished it? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, could you just tell us what did you presented? What did you really analyze and present to us? About what?
A few selected that I can find the corporate information through the financial statements like
No, no,
these.
just talking about the overall idea. What did you present to us?
Uh, some analysis about the highlighted corporate information of the bank.
Okay, I think there is miscommunication need. I do not know between you guys and me. Since you are adults, I think that I can tell you straight away, and I hope that you do not misunderstand or just frustrated or any other thing, because you are not kids, huh? So whenever we have something to correct, we need to correct it then and there. So with that basis, I give my comments. So in your presentation, actually, I did not see any analysis. It's just a presentation of information. But we are talking about financial statement analysis, right? Because this information can be found in the annual report. I did not see your any interpretation, any analysis, any implications. Without which, this is good to comply with presentation. Okay, just presentation. But our task there, I just told you, like we need to be at least critical on one or two areas to bring about something. It is because plethora of information is available everywhere. That is also one of the biggest problem. Even if you take annual reports, that's there. How do we understand? Even just telling stories or providing them doesn't, I mean, help us to understand. It's all right. You have put some effort and presented information, but the major missing point is the analysis, which is very critical for our subject. Critical for our subject. So if you can include a kind of analysis and discussion about this information, what do they imply, what are the implications, that would have been really, really good. Lots of things are there with the information you presented, you could have talked. Um, Before forgetting, I request everyone to send your presentations only after completing your presentation, right? Don't send me the presentation before doing the presentation. After the presentation, if you want, you can do some modifications or if needed, and send them. That is what. I know that since I have lots of the questions to be asked, but since you have mainly focused on presenting the information and not the analysis, even if I ask several questions, I know that it would be difficult for you to answer, since that area, those areas have not been touched. For instance, do you have anything to say? I know that would be difficult. So you presented about deposits, interest, income, and all those things. So actually, we would like to hear, in case if you can present us some information, how these the highly controlled interest control interest rate regimes implicate your company. So what we would like to hear, because we know that the central bank had been just controlling interest rate for almost 2 years and release it. How does it reflect in your performance and all those things? Because you had some revenue, sorry, your lending, borrowing, and all those. How do they match and relate to these policies, and what would be the future consequences on performance? So that's one important area you could have discussed. And the other important area as of now, anyway, just for the benefit of others, so just even you can think of, but if you can answer to these things, you can, no problem. What would be the pressure on commercial? Where do you work at?
Sir, I'm a teacher at Telford International School.
Where?
Telford International School.
I didn't get.
Telford International School at
Okay,
Gaul.
yeah. Maybe you would be busy and other things, but if that's the case, that's all right. But if you have simply understood that the scope of our subject is like this, that's a misunderstanding. Okay, due to some other reason, if you could not do these things, so that is something else. Then anyway, what is the pressure on especially on the banking system in general, specifically on the commercial bank, which has some foreign assets as well? due to the recent measures, policy measures and directives, policy measures taken and directives issued by the central bank about the exchange rate and the conversion of dollars into compulsory conversion of dollars into rupees. So those are the interesting things from analytical point of view. How would the bank would face these things with this amount of foreign exchange? That's interesting. Even if you hear it from someone, yeah, that would be interesting because these are the real analysis. And pressure and the central bank involvement in USD assets. And again, another important area, just normal revelation of or revelation of facts were they about the maintenance of core capital. So falling in line with Basel III requirements and others. But again, analysis is needed about the implication of maintaining high or required level of core capital. Of course, maintenance of core capital fulfills the requirement of compliance. You comply, then you are happy that, oh yes, I have maintained, our bank has been maintaining this and that. But of course, remember that it has a negative consequences on the profitability of the bank. So that analysis up to what extent this has affected the banks or how the leverage of the bank has been maintained with this particular situation, what would be the impact? So that would be really good if you can come out with that kind of analysis. And the other thing, yeah, so overall, like if just summarized version, just again telling you, the missing part is the analysis. And for your improvement and learning for everyone, especially when you make presentations, it depends on what kind of presentation. A presentation where people are just supposed to know the things. For example, I mean, this has no connection with our discussion. Just to improve your maybe presentation skill may be useful. Better not to give any definitions if you know that others know the definition already, because there are certain things. So here you mentioned something, I just noticed that word. You did not explain in detail, but it just told something about meaning of definition or meaning of lending, right? So when you talk in a forum where your colleagues and me, so don't you think that others do not know what is meant by lending? Did you get it? So if you have a strong belief that yes, others do not know what is meant by lending, then explain, right? For example, I can throw you very interesting words nowadays. Have you heard about these vaccine nationalism? So nowadays, without having any fear, even at a very high level intellectual or big forum, I can, if I talk about vaccination or politics, geopolitics, or any other things, I can talk about vaccine nationalism. I can tell about the definition. What is to mean by vaccine nationalism? Because I know that that's a new word, very unlikely that others will know about this thing unless you are really in that particular field. Did you get my point? If you are confident enough that others do not know, and by giving this explanation, definition would increase the presentation or my provision of information, that is good. Otherwise, just traditionally giving definition and giving explanation doesn't add value to presentations. If it's known thing or the audience knows, if it's unknown, it's all right. But again, even for known things, if the definition of something can be viewed from different perspectives, of course, yeah, then you can define. So lending and borrowing are general terms. no matter whether I, you, or any other person who knows about lending and borrowing, understand the lending and borrowing in the same way. But if we talk about something, then there would be different perspective, maybe democracy. Then you can explain what is meant by real democracy from your perspective. Even about, say, comment like love. So what is the definition of love? No definition. Then, so I hope you got my point. So think of improving these kind of things when you present. Right. If others have questions or any clarification, additions, comments about the presentation, you can ask. Actually, lots of information is there in the presentation. At least if you can improve or add the analysis part pertaining to this interest, foreign exchange, banking practices, performance, core capital maintenance, and future prospects. Even you can refer to the term structure of interest rate. What would happen to the future interest rates in Sri Lanka based on the present information, and what would be the impact of those things on commercial bank. That's interesting. Right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Do others have any questions or any comments or anything? If not, I think today we can wind up, because no point of just starting today's session that is about earnings analysis, growth analysis. You better go through those PowerPoint presentation, but from that you can't get much, but you better read something extra. Apart from that, I would like, if you have time and read, did I talk about this LOLC group transaction that took place couple of weeks ago?
LOLC insurance, sir?
No, not LOLC insurance. That is not LOLC insurance. Soft logic insurance life. About this, I talked about that one before. The offering that the dollar account. No, recently LOLC went ahead with kind of arrangement within LOLC. There are LOLC is the parent company, ultimate parent company, LOLC Finance, not finance, LOLC Holdings. LOLC PLC, whatever. So normally it is identified as LOLC, main company. Within LOLC, there are three major subsidiaries apart from other investments. Number one is CLC, commercial leasing and leasing company, or something, commercial leasing and credit, something, CLC. The second one is LOLC Finance. Third one, now it's called Nanda Finance Investment. Nanda Finance Investment, that is LOLC Development Finance. So all are finance companies. Three companies, including LOLC share price. Also, LOLC share price also very low, even around less than 100 rupees. But the share prices of other three companies, LOLFC, CLC, and Nanda Finance Investments, were very low, just 3 rupees, 4 rupees. And the highest was Nanda Finance, that was around just 10 or 15, 14 rupees. Even if you look at the net assets of those three companies, were even as of now are very low values, just 3, 5, less than 10 rupees. But what happened during last couple of months, share prices was just increasing significantly. So share prices really surge. For instance, CLC price from 3 rupees to went up to almost 80. And the other one, maybe 5 rupees of LOFC went up to almost 40. Nanda Finance Investment, just 14 rupees went up to 500 rupees. Unusual price movements maybe due to speculations or any other things, or you can learn about all those things. Even LOLC went up to 600, 700. Now it's reaching 1,000. Even Brown's investment, that did not increase by that much compared to this. 3 rupees has gone up to 12, 14 something. But what I want to highlight is that all of a sudden they made a corporate announcement saying that they incorporated another company with the name of LOHC, Lanka Oryx Holding Company, PLC, something like that, in between LOLC and other subsidiaries. What was the arrangement? It is a related party transaction. Arrangement was to transfer all the shares of those 3 subsidiaries held by LOLC to this newly formed company, which is also going to be a fully owned subsidiary of LOLC. You see the complication of this transaction. LOLC had 3 subsidiaries, almost 100%, not fully 100%, 98, 99, and the LOFC, it was around 50, 60 something. All the shares were transferred to the new company. At what price? They mentioned that because you can't transfer at a lower price where the prices can be quoted from a share market, because share market price is considered to be the fair value, unless you have extra or additional evidence to prove that the price has been manipulated or doctored, or like really manipulated through your involvement. So LOLC group does not want to have this bad image. They said that therefore, no, we have transferred all those shares at the prevailing market prices the last day, 1 day before the transaction or the transfer of those shares. Accordingly, very high prices. Nanda Finance, it was 500, CLC 78, Lanka Oryx Finance, LOFC, it was around 30 something. If that's the case, real investment recorded in LOFC must have been very low for sure. Then what is the consequence? What would be the result? If you have transferred these things, really transferred these things as they claim that they have transferred at those fair values, huge profit should have been created in the books of LOLC. But LOLC did not want that to happen, because that may be problematic in the future when the value goes down. As of now, they would prefer. They know that they can't hold on to these prices for long. Prices will come down. So therefore, if they recognize these things, so of course, when the price level goes down, no real value cannot be maintained, that would be reflected negatively. And because of that reason, they said they did not recognize, even though they claimed that they transferred at the market value. They said within the group, we transferred, even though at the fair value, we did not recognize them in the books of account. We settled the transaction at the nominal prices, whereas we transferred all the shares to new company at cost, and new shares will be issued by the new company to LOLC in lieu of those things. So this is how the transaction was settled. So if that is the case, what is the use of telling that you have transferred your shares at the fair value? So it doesn't have any impact, no matter whether your fair value is 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 500 rupee, or 5 million rupees, unless you are going to recognize that difference in your finance system. This is how tricky these companies in misleading general public by providing misguided information. But no one questioned it yet, but there was a discussion within business circles. Then they again came out with an excuse and explanation. No, even so, we have not recognized these things. Newly formed company will issue adequate number of shares. At what price? What valuation? So because they can say at any value, because that's a newly formed company. So there is no value in that except the value, the shares of new company. So this is how this game continues. So it's good if you can learn about this. Please download this particular file. I'll just share it. The corporate announcement. Three files are there. I'll share all those 3 files. You better read them. Right. Did you download them? Read them and have a discussion how shrewdly they have misinterpreted information. And that's what you are supposed to understand. If you can understand what they have said and what consequences are there, how information is really presented in a misleading manner, would be interesting. I think that has been shared only to one person, right? Did others see it or not? Hello?
Can't see.
Sorry? Yeah, Ilakshi, I have shared to you, right?
No, sir.
I think, who got this?
I got, sir.
So is it possible for you to share with others, or otherwise I will
Sure,
share?
sure. So I will share.
I will share it again. Now hope it's been shared to everyone. Now, do you see them?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you download them? Please let me know once you have downloaded, then we can wind up the session for today.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, do all of us need to submit the presentation, or people who have to do in future to should submit the presentation to you?
No, those who have presented only. So you can
Oh.
submit once you have completed your presentation. Once you present it, you submit it.
Okay, sir.
Just send me an email giving this is as an individual presentation.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So during a weekday, what are the most possible or the days that you like to have makeup classes? Any day, or do you have any specific days? During weekdays, if I fix the class in the evening, what time is the most convenient? 5 or 6?
Sir, coming Thursday and Friday, we have public forum in strategic management
Okay.
subject. Other than other 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we can.
Okay. At what time? What is the earliest time that's possible?
Others who are working.
Yeah, I know that. That's why I ask. If you can give me the most earliest time, that would be better, because I have slight constraints some days during 7 to 9. Then after 9, that would be too late then, because you guys have to go to work on the following day. So therefore,
After
anyway,
5:30.
sorry,
After 5:30, so
after 5:30. So okay, 5:30 to 6, we'll fix it at 6. By thinking, I'll let you know whether it would be possible for me to have it, and if possible, I'll let you know. I'll send an email to Madhavi. Yeah, so she coordinates with the group.
can you share the presentation as a
I think that must have been already in the. Did you check it in the LMS?
Yes, sir, we got only 11 one, I think.
Is it no? Today wasn't there any new presentation that is about the earnings analysis?
No, sir.
1 minute. Did you download all those files? Hello? This PDF file, did you download?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, the presentation is there now. Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
Did you get the file? Already transferred. Hello.
Downloaded, sir.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much then. If you do not have any other questions, we can wind up the session for today.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, see
Thank you
you
very much.
either on during a weekday, or if you will not be able to fix an extra class this week, so next week. Okay, have a nice weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
very
sir.
much, sir.
Bye.